So now God has the prophet Nathan, who's a friend of David, go to tell this parable, because God knows what David's going to hear and how he's going to react to it. So David tells, or the prophet Nathan tells this parable of a king who has all these lambs, and here's this one little guy has one precious little lamb, and the king's throwing a big banquet, so he goes and gets that guy's lamb and kills it. So David is incensed. Oh, I've got to get that guy. And Nathan said, that guy is you. Here you got Bathsheba pregnant and you killed her husband Uriah. Because of that, the sword will never leave your house, and it doesn't. So even though Nathan says God has forgiven you, nevertheless, being forgiven does not necessarily mean that all the consequences of the sin are gone. It's a sad story ever thereafter. Adonis rebels against him and so forth. David is absolutely heart-struck. His grief at what... Oh, also, Nathan said the baby must die that Bathsheba is bearing. Yes, he does. But ultimately, guess who Bathsheba bears? Solomon, who takes over. At any rate, here's a way to understand David. He writes the greatest penitential psalm ever written. I'm going to read some of it and try to imagine how he felt in his turn to God with his whole being, asking for forgiveness. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not toss aside. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love, according to your hesed, according to your abundant mercy, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity. Cleanse me from my sin. I know my transgressions. Boom, 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 boom. You desire truth in the inward being. Therefore, teach me wisdom in my secret heart. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Let me hear joy and gladness. Let the bones that you have crushed rejoice. Here it is, verse 10 through 12. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and put a new and right spirit within me. Do not cast me away from your presence. Do not take your Holy Spirit from me. Only two places in the Hebrew Bible where Holy Spirit's mentioned. Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and sustain me with a willing spirit. Wow. That sacrifice acceptable to God is a broken heart. A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. You won't. Imagine these words. How many of us have ever had to pray this? Okay, here it is. The rabbis, when asked, where is God? They said, God is wherever we let him in, first of all. Secondly, there needs to be permission for God to enter. So in Revelation 3:20, Jesus says, I'm standing at the door knocking. If you hear my voice and open the door, you got to open it, I will enter in and sup with you, and you with me, and you with me. Here's my belief about this. This is where the first Messiah, David, asks God to enter into our hearts, to cleanse us, to change our hearts to be in conformity to God. That's the direct invitation from David, no less, the first Messiah, from whom will come Jesus Christ. That's pretty heavy stuff, huh? Now, we turn to the prophets.